folks. Today what we got here is a 2009 Ford Fusion. We're going to do a tune-up on her today. So basically we're going to be removing the spark plugs and changing them out. So the first order of business here is we're probably going to disconnect the battery, or maybe even pull the battery out. I'm not sure. I haven't decided on that yet, but at least disconnect the battery. We're going to pull off this air cleaner. Probably take this apart, the throttle control, and in the back there we've got a couple of hoses to remove, the brake booster hose, some other hoses back there. I'm not sure what they are, but it doesn't seem too difficult. Then we have to pull the air intake off, which consists of about 12 bolts, I believe. Something like that, 8 or 12 bolts. I haven't looked at it completely, but then of course we have the 3 in the front, which are easy for the spark plugs. We are having a number 3 cylinder miss on this error code on this car. So number 3 cylinder is the back right, extreme right one back here. So I'm suspecting that the coil is bad or something. So anyway, we purchased enough product here to where we can replace that if needed. So over here we've got a couple of coils, Duralast coils to replace it. And we've got our 6 spark plugs and of course our intake manifold gaskets. So we bought an extra coil just in case. If that number 3 is bad, we'll at least have a new one for that. Hopefully we don't have any other issues, and maybe we can even take one back to the store and get our money back. But they're over $100 for these coils, so very expensive. So the car is worth it. So it's my daughter's car, so we'll be I'm doing this to help her out, so save her some money. Pep Boys wants over $460 just for the labor. They wouldn't even give me a price on, parts and labor. So very expensive job, but it isn't really that big of a deal. So I think we're a few hours of working here and we'll be good to go. So we'll have it wrapped up, and then maybe I can go fishing. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I've disconnected the battery, the negative side. I'm going to blow off any crud or any junk so it doesn't get into the intake. When I remove that, I'll be blowing all this crud out of here and then probably putting in some rags to cover up the intake once that's off. So stay tuned for that. Okay, I think that's good. We'll start with that. Air cleaner is off. I'm going to have to remove the EGR valve from this bit because I think I'm going to be folding this up and over the battery. I don't think I'm going to take that battery out. My daughter said she was going to get a new battery, so I was going to pull it, but I don't see it in the car, so I'm going to leave it and do that a different day. But anyway, I'm going to take these off and remove this EGR valve and go after these bolts next. So stay tuned. Okay, so far I've been able to pull this off, took all the bolts out. I think it was 8 of them. And what I had to do, I had to kind of bend this back to get that EGR valve out. But I think that's okay. And I had to remove this line here. So this clamp had to come off so I could peel this back. So now, and I've also covered up the port so I don't drop anything in there. So I think that's where we're at now. I'm going to pull this one out. I started loosening it already, and that's my number 3 cylinder, which was missing. So I'm going to take a look at that coil once I get it out, see if it's burnt or what, and go from there. So keep watching. Well, I think I determined where the mist is coming from. If you look closely, you'll see that that's all burnt. It's burnt and cracked. So that's where our mist is coming from. So we'll get them all out and see what they look like. Hopefully they all don't look like that. Well, surprise, surprise, I wasn't able to get the boot out. The boot broke off inside there, and I'm having a hell of a time getting it out of there. If you can look down in there, I don't know if you can see or not. See if I can get some lighting in there. As you can see, I've got little divots out of that rubber, out of the circumference of that rubber. I've been taking little bites out of it trying to get it out. But at least I don't see any oil down in there or in that one. So that's a good sign. Kind of hard to see in that one, but yeah, that looks pretty good. That one looks pretty good. And that one looks pretty good. Okay, at least the seals aren't leaking. But I got to get that rubber out of there. About an hour of trying, it finally came out. Thank goodness. So I blew out all the holes. Make sure I don't have any debris down in there. So it looked pretty good. That one's got a little bit of staining, I think, but I don't think it's dirt. Tried to get it out with the air gun, but anyway, got it out. Success. Only added about another hour to this job. So that you love it. Okay, so number 3, 2, 1, and this is 4, 5, and 6. So 5 is bad, as of course, as you can see, but it did take some extra long needle nose pliers to get it. Finally, I got it for my 3rd pair, but anyway, we finally got it out. Thank goodness. So I'll be replacing those. I've got two of them here. So luckily she bought 2, and I'll be able to complete this job today. So stay tuned. Got all the spark plugs in, and I used dielectric grease and anti-seize lubricant on the anti-seize on the threads, and dielectric grease on the electrode where the coil connects to. So, and on the ceramic as well. So anyway, the spark plugs are in, and just got to put the new coils in and put the old ones back in too. So stay tuned. Well, I ended up getting the everything done for the tune-up, but I ran into another problem. As soon as I started the car up, it was running okay. It seemed to be idling all right, but I had no throttle control. So this is the electronic throttle control modular, and I believe, it might be in this connection. I'm not sure. I was reading 5 volts like it was supposed to be at the harness going into this thing, but it just stopped working. The wrench on the dashboard started to glow, and according to the owner's manual, that's usually, it says get it into the dealer to fix it. So it doesn't tell you what it's for. It just says electronic throttle control, which is this thing. It's in its own right. So it definitely is dirty. We've ordered one through AutoZone. Tried to get an OEM replacement part, but they won't be available for at least a week. So I advised my daughter to go ahead and see if she could get an aftermarket throttle body at AutoZone, and they have one, but I got to wait till tomorrow to get it. So I'm going to put the new one in and see what happens. The car would run, it would idle, but it wouldn't go anywhere. You hit the gas pedal and nothing. You would get no throttle response whatsoever. So it would go into forward gear and in neutral and reverse, and you could go up and down the driveway, but that's about it. So, okay, well, that'll be tomorrow's adventure. So I'm going to stop here for today, and we'll get it back tomorrow. Okay, this was day 2, and I've got to put on the electronic throttle control, which you can see is missing here. Put the 2 hoses back together. These are radiator coolant lines that actually attach to that electronic throttle control. Then I'll reinstall the air cleaner and the snorkel and everything else that goes there, and put it all back together, and we'll see if this computer will learn it, and hopefully it'll idle and the throttle will engage. So that was the problem. We were having issues after it was all back together after the tune-up. The monkey wrench on the or the wrench came on, illuminated on the dashboard, and I can show you that right here. And this didn't happen before. My daughter said that she was having some issues where it wasn't shifting right, or she just didn't. He was having some drivability problems, and whatever this is, I don't know. But let's see. You can see that's the light there that came on, that monkey wrench, or that wrench. And when that comes on, the book says to take it to a dealer immediately. The throttle control system is malfunctioning, and that's about all it says. So with the proper history that I got, once I realized that she was having other issues, not just a miss in the engine, which we took care of with the tune-up, all of a sudden this problem, showed its ugly head. So anyway, stay tuned. Okay, now that's the old throttle body. We have the new one here. It's an aftermarket Tech Smart through AutoZone. S20028 is the number, the part number. So we'll see what happens. It says made in Brazil. So hopefully the aftermarket will do the job. This one was about $189, I believe, and the OEM part Ford was more like $350. Right, so 2 ports there. And so that looks pretty close. Both patterns are right. Everything looks good down on that side. Yeah, see, this little clip deal is broken on this one, and I even tried to tape it on the original harness on the car, and it still didn't seem to work. So we'll give this our try. I think I'm gonna leave that on until I'm ready to pull it off. I'll put it on the car that way. I gotta get the hoses hooked up, but it looks identical, so we'll go from there, reinstall it, see what happens. Got the throttle body in. Just need to connect the connector. Everything's tightened down. This is the PCV valves connected. So should be good to go. I've disconnected the negative lead on the battery. I'm gonna let that try to clear the codes for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so I got the plug back on. It's all locked down and tight. The only thing I gotta put on is the battery cable. And it's been about 15 minutes. All right, we're gonna start it up, see what we have. Hopefully, cross your fingers, everybody. Looks like, okay, the wrench went out, so that's a good sign. Engine light went out. Of course, the tire pressure monitors are faulty, but that's normal for this car. Hey, look at that. I'm getting throttle response. That's awesome. Okay. Whew. So she's working good. Next is a road test and wrap it up. So thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of Live to Fish 64. Have a great day.